Hey guys, what's going on? Back again with another Cold War Zombies video. As you know, we got the trailer about maybe 2 days ago, and in that trailer, there's some writing on the wall that says Kravchenko Lied. So I'm going to try and take a guess at it. This could be potential spoilers because, like I tell people in the past, I do this just as a challenge to myself for bragging rights, I guess, basically. I don't gain anything out of it. I'm not looking to gain anything out of it. Um, so this is done again through research, and I just want to kind of show what I came up with, who I think might have written that, which I think it's a great idea if I end up being right. Again, it reminds me about when I was younger, and you're in like either honors classes or AP classes where um, everybody kind of after you take a test or a quiz, you compare your test and see who does the best, and the person that usually did the best, or the people that usually did the best would kind of like just be proud of themselves and stuff like that, because that's the whole reason you take tests and quizzes, is really just for yourself to be proud that maybe you studied, maybe you did your research and stuff like that. So this is again just basically a digital diary of sorts, to kind of document before the map comes, before we get any trailers, before we get any cutscenes, before we get any information about the actual map, who could have written that note and why. And a lot of stuff ties together pretty well. That doesn't necessarily always mean that it's going to be the right answer. It could be like red herrings, Treyarch maybe leading me or other people down the wrong path, to make you think of, kind of trick you and come up with surprises and stuff like that. Or as Craig Houston had said, they'll kind of pull the rug out from under you. But a lot of stuff, Treyarch gives you, and even though they've been doing it for years now, even more, probably more like a decade, everything they give you isn't always necessarily what they're gonna give you. It's just that people, and it just shows how great of writers the writers are, or the narrative team and the devs, that they give you so much trust, or you have so much trust in them, that we just kind of go along with what they say. We trust what they tell us, and that might not necessarily be the right thing to do, because they're in the business of writing a good story. I just think it's funny when myself and other people just kind of believe what they tell us. But that's what they're here to do, is to trick us at the end, have us have different emotions going through our feelings, um, and stuff like that. So this is again done through research. What I would want to start with is just to mention or give the question of who that knows Kravchenko is still alive, and who would know that he was lying, and what has Kravchenko been lying about. So those are the things that I started with, or to start to think about, to kind of help me answer the question. And right now, the thing that always stuck out, and it's the number one thing, that you kind of learned when you load into Matter Toten, is it talks about Kravchenko, and it talks about Valentina, and how Valentina might have like different personalities and might believe certain things, and might, um, he kind of bend the truth about her past, I guess, so he didn't, from what my understanding, so he doesn't look like the bad guy or look incompetent. So he kind of made some lies up about Valentina. So that made me also start thinking. A lot of this is done through research. I'm not going to tell you what the research is. I'm just going to kind of give you a couple things here and there. Again, not to spoil anything. So, again, this is going to be uh, more spoilers coming along, or coming after this. So let me see if I can get this to work. Hold on one second. Okay, so there it goes. So what we were led to believe, or what we believe right now, is that we killed Valentina at the end of the Maruton cutscene, but nothing is proven that that's Valentina except her voice. All we see is a female figure with crystals coming out of her. Um, and with that being said, we don't even know if it was actually a female. So again, up until this point, till I had almost an epiphany a couple of days ago, or a couple weeks ago. It made me think, like, was that even really Valentina? And this is something I try and mention to people on Twitter without spoiling stuff for people. Is don't always believe what they tell you, and you gotta look at stuff. The facts, I guess, is the best way. What our emotions are telling us is that, hey, that was Valentina. We stopped her from, bringing her army um, through the portal and stuff like that. But the facts are, we don't know if that was Valentina. We just assume and agree with everyone and herself that it was Valentina. And we know that maybe she changed her name and stuff like that. So that's the smoking gun, so to speak, is that we don't 100% know that that is Valentina. We just assume and go along with what Treyarch tells us. But if you and that's what I'm saying. It could be spoilers because they might not even, you know, um, tell us anything. But assuming that they will, and we'll find out. Maybe we'll see her in the new map. Um, so that is kind of what I started with, and then I'll give you some answers. Not all the answers, because if I give you the answer, it's gonna open a whole can of worms and give you a whole bunch of answers that are gonna spoil everything. So my first guess, or my if I had to kind of throw my hat in the ring, so to speak, is that my guess is that it's going to be Valentina because, again, if you look at the facts, we don't really know who we killed in Mauer and we just assume, again, that it was Valentina. And the last piece of the puzzle, or another important piece of the puzzle, is that, and that's Valentina there. So that was, again, one of my first guesses. Valentina's on the left. That's what we know her to look like, and that's Peck on the right. So those are my two guesses. That if it's not Valentina, if this truly was Valentina and we killed her and sent her to the Dark Aether again, or back to the Dark Aether, whatever we did. I actually don't even remember, to be 100% sure with you. I think we sent her back, or we just blew her up. And my next guess would be Peck. Maybe Peck is gonna like come to our side. He was American at one point. Maybe he's being brainwashed. Maybe he was being brainwashed. Maybe he's gonna end up coming to our side. That one, there's not much to it, just kind of an assumption. But my first guess again is going to be Valentina. And again, the big piece of the puzzle, and I mentioned this months ago, and I kind of want to revisit it and talk about it again, is that Valentina was a real life war hero. I don't see Treyarch leaving it where Valentina was a villain. Um, so her real name was Valentina Tereshkova, I believe, and she was a Russian cosmonaut, the first one to go into space. Kind of mimicking how Valentina. Well, actually, no. Well, Max is, I think, was the first one to go to Dark Aether, maybe, but maybe it was Valentina. Who knows? Um, but it just kind of, a lot of that just seemed very similar to our story. So I don't see Treyarch in Call of Duty having a Russian female war hero end up being a villain in the storyline. I don't know if anything changed, but I think, again, it was just red herrings from the beginning. So, or I could be wrong, and that's why, like, sometimes I'm happy that I saw Easter eggs, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. It's I've already have already solved my fair share of Easter eggs. I tell people, like, if I'm wrong, it's fine. Um, if I'm right, then it's just another cool little Easter egg that I solved. Again, she is a war. I'm gonna say a war hero, but I think she's more like cosmonaut, first one to travel to space, kind of like cosmonauts or ethernauts are the first one to travel to the Dark Aether. Again, I don't see Call of Duty Treyarch, just in case if anything ever comes up down the road, maybe what happened with Black Ops 2 and Noriega, I think it was, or one of those people in Black Ops 2, the family got upset because it painted them as a bad person. So I'm thinking they maybe might look to avoid the whole situation again and try not to repeat it. So I think they're gonna turn, or Valentina's gonna turn face, as they call it, where she goes from being a bad guy to a good guy. So she's probably at the facility and is probably gonna help us escape. Uh, that's assuming that everything that I talked about is right and Treyarch or Call of Duty even cares about it. Or it could have been totally wrong and that wasn't even the right Valentina. But there is a Valentina who was the first female astronaut to travel to space. I thought it would mimic the Dark Aether. Again, I highly doubt that Call of Duty, Treyarch, and the devs would leave it where she was a villain and we killed off one of the most prestigious astronauts in Russia's history. I think, we got bamboozled in a way, and that probably wasn't Valentina, and the real Valentina is somewhere in the facility and is going to help us escape. And she's going to be probably a decorated hero or something like that. Maybe they'll talk about it in the intel. Maybe they'll give it in a cutscene that maybe Russia's going to honor her or something like that. Just some thoughts on who maybe they're helping us when we get there, unless there's some clues in the trailer, but we'll have to see. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys later.